Most Americans believe that once you have U.S. citizenship, it's permanent. You're born here, or you go through the long and difficult process of becoming a citizen, and that blue passport feels like the ultimate guarantee of belonging. But here's the truth. Citizenship in the United States is not always forever. Under certain circumstances, the government can take it away. In this video, we're breaking down 5 shocking reasons you can lose your U.S. citizenship. Some of these are obvious, others are buried deep in U.S. law, and a few might completely surprise you. Stick around until the very end, because the 5th reason is one that almost no one talks about, yet it's written directly into the law. Number 1. Voluntary renunciation. The first and most straightforward reason is voluntary renunciation of citizenship. Every year, thousands of Americans willingly give up their citizenship. In fact, in certain years, especially when U.S. tax laws tighten, the number spikes dramatically. Why? The answer is usually money or convenience. The United States is one of the only countries in the world that taxes its citizens no matter where they live. That means if you've been living in France for 20 years, or you've retired in Thailand, you're still legally required to file U.S. taxes every single year. For wealthy Americans living abroad, this can be a massive financial burden. So what do some people do? They give it up. But renouncing citizenship is not as simple as mailing your passport back and saying, "I quit." There's an official process that must be followed. You have to appear in person at a U.S. embassy or consulate overseas. You must complete multiple forms. You must swear an oath of renunciation. And finally, you must pay a renunciation fee of more than $2,000. And here's the kicker. Once you give it up, it's permanent. There's no easy way back. If you later decide you made a mistake, you cannot simply ask for your citizenship back. You would have to start from scratch like any other foreigner applying for a visa, and there's no guarantee you would ever be approved. During the Vietnam War era, some Americans renounced their citizenship in protest. Years later, many regretted it when they wanted to return to the U.S. Today, the most common reasons are financial and business related, but the outcome is always the same. Once you renounce, you're no longer an American citizen. Number 2. Committing treason or aiding enemies of the U.S. The second shocking reason is committing treason or aiding America's enemies. This one is written into the law in very clear terms. If an American fights against the United States or intentionally helps its enemies during wartime, they can be stripped of their citizenship. During World War II, for example, several Americans were accused of joining enemy forces or spreading propaganda for the Nazis or Imperial Japan. Their actions weren't just viewed as crimes, they were seen as betrayals of citizenship itself. Fast forward to today. In recent years, we've seen Americans travel overseas to join terrorist organizations like ISIS or Al-Qaeda. Some of these individuals were captured, and legal debates quickly followed. Should they still be considered U.S. citizens? Should they be allowed to return to America? Or should their actions be treated as a forfeiture of their nationality? It's important to note that the government cannot simply accuse someone and revoke their citizenship on the spot. There must be due process. Evidence must be presented, and in many cases, a court must rule that the person's actions truly amounted to treason or aid to enemies. But the message is clear. Citizenship is built on loyalty. If you actively betray your country during times of war or national crisis, you risk losing the very citizenship that once protected you. Number 3. Fraud in the naturalization process. Third on our list is fraud or lying during the naturalization process. Becoming a U.S. citizen through naturalization is a long, detailed journey. Applicants are asked about their past, their criminal record, their affiliations, and their activities. If someone lies, by hiding their involvement in a crime, by failing to disclose ties to extremist groups, or even by using a fake identity, the U.S. government has the authority to revoke that citizenship once the fraud is discovered. This process is called denaturalization, and it can happen many years, or even decades, after someone has been sworn in as a citizen. One of the most well-known examples involves former Nazi guards who immigrated to the U.S. after World War II. Many of them concealed their roles in concentration camps. When those lies were uncovered, sometimes 40 years later, the U.S. stripped them of citizenship and deported them. More recently, the Department of Justice has focused on immigrants who concealed serious crimes, terrorism ties, or prior deportation orders. In fact, a dedicated denaturalization task force was created to specifically pursue these cases. What's important to understand is that even if someone has lived in America for decades, paid taxes, and built a family, if their citizenship was obtained through fraud, the government can take it away. The logic is simple. Citizenship earned dishonestly was never truly valid in the first place. Number 4. Serving in a hostile foreign military or government. Fourth, and one that often surprises people, is serving in a foreign military or government that is hostile to the United States. The idea here is loyalty. If an American citizen decides to enlist in the armed forces of a foreign country that is engaged in conflict with the U.S., or if they accept a high-ranking position in a government considered hostile, their citizenship can be stripped. Think about it. If an American becomes a senior military officer in a nation at war with the U.S., can they really claim to still be loyal to America? U.S. law suggests the answer is no. Now, there are exceptions. Dual citizens who serve in the military of allied nations, such as Canada, Israel, or South Korea, are not in danger of losing citizenship. Millions of Americans have dual loyalties that coexist peacefully. But when those loyalties cross into enemy territory, the U.S. government draws a hard line. In the past, Americans who defected to enemy regimes, whether during the Korean War, the Cold War, or more recent conflicts, faced not only suspicion but also potential loss of citizenship. It's rare, but the law allows it. The bottom line is this: while citizenship carries rights, it also carries obligations. Aligning yourself with a hostile power can be viewed as a direct renunciation of American nationality. Number 5. Refusing to testify in national security cases. And now, the fifth and perhaps most shocking reason: refusing to testify in national security cases. Yes, this is real. Under certain laws, if a naturalized citizen is subpoenaed to testify in a case involving national security, such as espionage, terrorism, or subversive activities, and they refuse without a valid reason, their citizenship can be revoked. This clause is rarely invoked, and it remains controversial, but it highlights just how much power the government has when it comes to issues of national security. Imagine spending years going through the naturalization process, taking the oath, and proudly calling yourself an American. Then, years later, you're called to testify in a sensitive case. If you refuse, the government could take away your citizenship. Again, this is not common. It's an extraordinary measure, but the fact that it exists in U.S. law is enough to shock many people who assume citizenship is permanent. So, there you have it. The 5 shocking reasons you can lose your U.S. citizenship. Number 1. Voluntarily renouncing it. Number 2. Committing treason or aiding enemies. Number 3. Fraud in the naturalization process. Number 4. Serving in a hostile foreign military or government. And number 5. Refusing to testify in national security cases. For most people, these situations will never apply. But the fact that they exist shows us that U.S. citizenship is not always permanent. It is a privilege with rights, but also with responsibilities. This raises an important question. Should citizenship ever be revocable? Some argue that once earned, it should be permanent, no matter what. Others believe that loyalty matters, and betrayal should have consequences. What do you think? Should the government have the power to strip citizenship, or should it be untouchable once granted? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into global and national issues, and share this with someone who needs to know the truth about citizenship. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.